I got the divorce papers by email while I was deployed in Poland. 13 years of marriage ended in a PDF attachment. My name is Alex Morrison, 39 years old, Staff Sergeant with the 3rd Infantry Division. I'd been stationed overseas for 4 months when Claire decided she was done waiting. The subject line read, "Let's be adults about this." 3 sentences that dismantled everything I'd built. She'd filed the paperwork. She'd refinanced our house to protect her equity. And she'd transferred our entire investment portfolio to secure her financial future. Drop a comment with where you're watching from, and tell me, have you ever had someone betray you while you were away and couldn't defend yourself? Because what happened next proved that distance doesn't protect criminals. It just gives them a false sense of security. It was 2:17 in the morning when that email arrived. I was working late in the logistics office at our base near Warsaw, tracking supply shipments and checking procurement orders. The kind of work that never really ends when you're responsible for making sure equipment gets where it needs to go. My laptop pinged with the notification. Personal email. I almost ignored it. We weren't supposed to check personal accounts during duty hours, but something made me click. Subject, let's be adults about this. I read those 3 sentences once. Then again. Each word settling into my brain like shrapnel finding tissue. Marcus, I've filed for divorce. The papers are being processed through the county court. I've refinanced the house since I can't afford the mortgage alone on my salary, and I've moved our investment portfolio into my name to protect my financial security during this transition. I hope we can handle this maturely without unnecessary conflict. Claire. That last part. Moved our investment portfolio into her name to protect her financial security. I closed my laptop and sat there in the dim glow of the logistics office. Around me, 3 other specialists worked at their stations, processing requisition orders and tracking shipments across Europe. That was my job, following supply chains, identifying fraud in military procurement, making sure contractors weren't stealing from the government through fake invoices or inflated prices. I'd spent 15 years learning how to track money, how to spot patterns in financial transactions, how to catch people who thought they could hide their crimes in spreadsheets and wire transfers. The irony wasn't lost on me. Sergeant Rodriguez at the next desk glanced over. "You all right, Morrison? You've been staring at nothing for like 5 minutes." "Yeah," I said, keeping my voice neutral. "Military training. Show nothing. Process internally. Just some issues back home. Nothing I can't handle. Family stuff? Something like that." I opened my laptop again and clicked reply. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. I could write paragraphs demanding explanations. Could threaten legal action. Could beg her to reconsider. Instead, I typed one word, understood. That was it. She'd interpret it as acceptance, as me being too tired or too far away to fight. She'd think I was rolling over, making this easy for her. She had no idea what was coming. I hit send and sat back. Rodriguez returned to his procurement reports. Military guys know when to leave things alone. We respect boundaries. We understand that sometimes you need to process alone before you're ready to talk. But I wasn't processing grief. I wasn't dealing with the emotional devastation of a marriage ending. I was processing data. Because that line about refinancing the house had triggered something in my training. Our house in Savannah was purchased with my VA loan. Any refinance required both signatures. I'd been in Poland for 4 months. I'd never signed anything. And our investment portfolio, $240,000 we'd saved over 13 years, required joint authorization to transfer. I'd set that up specifically to prevent either of us from making unilateral decisions. I pulled out my phone and opened our mortgage account app. Logged in with credentials Claire didn't know I'd kept separate. The screen loaded slowly over the military network. Cash out refinance completed 3 weeks ago. Amount borrowed, $180,000. My signature on the digital documents. Except I'd been in Poland for 4 months. I'd never signed those papers. Which meant someone had forged my signature on federal loan documents. Which meant this wasn't just a divorce. This was fraud. I sat there staring at that screen, watching the data points connect in my mind the way they did when I was tracking contractor theft. Pattern recognition. Timeline analysis. Identifying the crime hidden in seemingly legitimate transactions. Then I checked our joint bank account. Balance, $147. Down from $12,000 3 months ago. Our investment portfolio. I logged into Fidelity. Account transferred to Claire Morrison, individual owner. Balance, 0. Transfer date, 6 weeks ago. And finally, our real estate investment company. The LLC we'd formed with my best friend Marcus Chen. I tried logging into the business account. Password changed. Access denied. I pulled up the company documents I'd secretly forwarded to my personal email before deploying, Something I always did, just in case. Found our operating agreement. Read the account access provisions. My heart rate picked up. Not from panic. From recognition of an opportunity. I pulled up property records for our company. We owned 4 rental properties in Savannah, all in various stages of renovation. Check the transaction history. 3 properties sold in the past 2 months. Total proceeds, $430,000. None of it in our company account. I sat back and looked at my dark laptop screen, seeing my own reflection. Tired eyes. Military short hair. The face of a man whose wife wasn't just leaving him. His wife was robbing him. And she'd recruited my best friend to help. Total theft that I could identify right now, in 15 minutes of checking accounts, over $740,000. Stolen while I was deployed and unable to respond quickly. But Claire had made one critical mistake. She'd forgotten that I wasn't just a soldier. I was a logistics coordinator who spent every day tracking fraud. And she'd forgotten that I'd structured our business specifically to protect against exactly this kind of theft. I opened a new document and started typing. Timeline. Transactions. Evidence. The way I did when building a case against a contractor stealing from the military. Only this time, the criminal was my wife. And I was going to destroy her. 3 days later, I still hadn't told anyone except Rodriguez, and only because he'd noticed my mood shift. I was calmer now. Focused. Because I'd spent those 3 days doing what I did professionally, following the money. The refinance money, $180,000, had been transferred to a new account I didn't recognize. I traced it through my saved bank records. Account opened at Coastal Federal Credit Union 4 months ago. In Claire's name only. From there, the money moved again. Wire transfer to a real estate transaction. I pulled up property records in Chatham County. Found it. Beach house in Tybee Island. $380,000. Purchased 6 weeks ago. Buyers listed as Claire Morrison and Marcus Chen. Joint ownership. My wife and my best friend had bought a beach house together. Using money stolen from me through a fraudulent refinance. They weren't just having an affair. They were building a life together. With my money. I sat in my bunk that night, laptop balanced on my knees, looking at the property listing photos. Modern construction. Wraparound deck. Ocean views. The kind of place Claire always said we'd buy someday, when we had the money. Except we did have the money. I'd been saving it. Building it. And she'd taken it all and given it to Marcus. Rodriguez climbed into his bunk. You're still on that laptop? It's past midnight. Just reviewing some financial documents. Making sure everything's in order. Everything in order with a divorce? That's optimistic. I almost smiled. Let's just say I'm identifying all the assets so the settlement's fair. Fair. Right. Rodriguez pulled his blanket up. Morrison, I've known you for 3 years. You're the calmest angry person I've ever met. Whatever you're planning, I hope it's legal. Completely legal, I said. And I meant it. I wasn't going to break any laws. I was going to use the law to break them. Before I closed my laptop, I did one more thing. Logged into our home security system. I'd installed cameras before deploying, standard security for an empty house. What Claire didn't know was that I'd set them to upload to cloud storage she couldn't access. I scrolled through the footage from the past month. Found what I was looking for. Claire and Marcus. In my house. In my bedroom. Discussing business documents spread across my kitchen table. I turned the audio up. Marcus's voice, these property sales went through clean. Alex has no idea we're moving everything to Coastal Properties Group. Claire's voice, are you sure the LLC transfer paperwork looks legitimate? Marcus, it's fine. He's in Poland. By the time he figures anything out, we'll have everything restructured. Claire, I almost feel bad. He trusted us. Marcus, he chose to deploy. That's on him. We're just protecting our interests. I recorded that section. Downloaded it. Saved it 3 different places. They weren't just stealing. They were stupid enough to discuss it where I had cameras recording everything. I pulled up more footage. Found them going through company invoices. Marcus holding up papers. Marcus, these contractor invoices are perfect. Company pays me for renovations I never did, we pocket the cash. Claire, how much so far? Marcus, maybe 80,000. Maybe more. The beauty is Alex handles logistics, not accounting. He'll never notice. Contractor fraud. They were billing our company for fake renovation work and keeping the money. That wasn't just civil fraud anymore. That was criminal. Prosecutable. Prison time. I made a new folder on my encrypted drive. Started organizing everything. Every theft. Every forged document. Every fraudulent transaction. Every incriminating video. Because I wasn't just going to divorce Claire. I was going to destroy both of them. Methodically. Legally. Completely. And they'd never see it coming until it was too late. 1 week after receiving that divorce email, I made a video call to David Kim. We'd been roommates at Georgia State, stayed friends for 15 years. He'd gone to law school, now practiced real estate and business law in Atlanta. The connection was grainy over the military network, but David's face came through clear enough. Alex? Man, it's been months. How's Poland? Complicated. I need legal help. Discreet and urgent. His expression changed. What kind of help? My wife is committing fraud while I'm deployed. And I can prove it. I spent the next 2 hours walking him through everything. Every account. Every theft. Every piece of video evidence. David took notes on a yellow legal pad, asking sharp questions, occasionally stopping me to clarify timeline details. When I finished, he sat back in his chair. Alex, how much of this have you shared with anyone else? Just you. Nobody else knows I'm tracking them. Good. Don't tell anyone. Not your command. Not Rodriguez. Nobody. Element of surprise is critical. He flipped through his notes. How much total are we talking? $740,000 that I've identified so far. Maybe more if I keep digging. David let out a low whistle. That's not petty theft. That's systematic fraud. Okay, walk me through the business structure. The LLC. Morrison Property Investments. Formed in 2020. 3 partners, me, Claire, and Marcus. I'm listed as managing member and registered agent. Own 55%. Claire owns 30%. Marcus 15%. Who has signature authority on major financial decisions? According to our operating agreement, I do. As majority owner and managing member, any major asset transfer requires my written consent. David leaned forward. Alex, did you give written consent for any of these property sales? No. Never even knew about them until I checked records 3 days ago. Then every single transaction is voidable under Georgia LLC law. Every property sale. Every asset transfer. All of it can be clawed back because they were conducted without proper authorization from the managing member. He was writing faster now. What about the refinance? Forged signature on federal loan documents. I was in Poland. Never signed anything. That's federal document fraud. FBI jurisdiction if we want to push it. And the contractor fraud you mentioned? Video evidence of Marcus admitting to submitting fake invoices. Billing the company for renovation work that was never done. Probably $80,000 or more. David set his pen down and looked directly at the camera. Alex, you understand what you're sitting on here? This isn't just a messy divorce. This is organized criminal fraud. If we pursue this fully, Claire and Marcus are looking at criminal charges. Claire could lose her real estate license. Marcus could do prison time. This will destroy both their lives. Are you prepared for that? I thought about the beach house they'd bought with my money. About them mocking me on video in my own house. About 13 years of marriage and 23 years of friendship thrown away for theft. I'm prepared. Do it. All of it. Then give me 2 weeks to prepare the filings. I'll need that time to organize everything for court. Can you sit tight in Poland that long without tipping them off? I've been sitting tight for a week already. 2 more weeks won't matter. Good. Because once we file, Alex, there's no going back. This will be nuclear. Complete destruction. Make sure you're ready for that. After the call ended, I sat alone in the logistics office thinking about what nuclear meant. Claire would lose everything. Marcus would lose everything. Our business would be mine. Their reputations would be destroyed. And I didn't feel guilty at all. Just cold. Focused. Ready. Rodriguez walked in. You look different. Less stressed. I have a plan now. That helps. Good plan or revenge plan? Is there a difference? He laughed. Not when you're the one who got screwed. Just don't do anything that'll get you court-martialed. Everything I'm doing is completely legal. In fact, it's so legal I have an attorney handling it. That's somehow more terrifying than if you were doing something illegal. He was right. Legal revenge was worse. Because they couldn't fight back against the law. They could only watch as it destroyed them. Those 2 weeks felt like the longest of my deployment. Every day, I maintained my routine. Processed supply orders. Tracked shipments. Attended briefings. Rodriguez said I seemed calmer than before Claire's email. He was right. Knowing you're about to win tends to have that effect. David sent me encrypted updates every few days. He'd filed preliminary research. Found even more problematic transactions. Discovered that Claire had been using her real estate license improperly, representing properties she technically didn't have authority to sell. On day 13, he sent a detailed message, everything's ready. I'm filing tomorrow at 9 a.m. Georgia time. Emergency motions for immediate relief since you're a deployed service member. Judges hate fraud against deployed military. We'll get expedited hearings. Claire and Marcus will be served tomorrow afternoon. By close of business tomorrow, every account will be frozen and every transfer will be contested. I read that message 3 times. Tomorrow. After 2 weeks of waiting. After 3 weeks of documentation. After 4 months of deployment while they thought they were safe. Tomorrow it all came crashing down. I texted back, do it. Then I started composing my own email. The one I'd send to Claire and Marcus 30 minutes after David filed. The one that would let them know I knew everything. I kept it simple. Professional. Devastating. Claire and Marcus, as majority owner and managing member of our LLC, I've exercised my authority to freeze all company accounts pending investigation of unauthorized transfers. The house refinance with my forged signature is being investigated by federal authorities. All property sales conducted without my written approval are being voided. You'll both be served with legal documents today. I suggest you hire attorneys. Alex. I read it 10 times. Changed nothing. Saved it to drafts. At 3 p.m. Polish time, 9 a.m. in Georgia, David sent a single text, filed. It's done. I waited 30 minutes exactly. Let the legal machinery start grinding. Let the emergency motions get logged into the court system. Let the process begin. Then I sent my email. And I waited. Claire called at 9:47 a.m. Georgia time. I didn't answer. Let it go to voicemail. Marcus called at 9:51 a.m. Voicemail. My phone started buzzing continuously with texts and calls. I ignored all of them. Just sat in the logistics office reading every message as they came in. Claire's first voicemail. Alex, what are you talking about? Please call me. This is insane. Her third voicemail. The accounts are frozen. We have contractors who need to be paid. You're going to ruin everything. Marcus's second voicemail. Dude, seriously, you're overreacting. The company needed those financial moves for tax purposes. Call me back. Marcus's fifth voicemail. Alex, man, don't do this. We can fix this. Just talk to me. By noon, I had 47 missed calls, 32 text messages, and 14 voicemails. Each one more desperate than the last. More panicked. I read every text. Listened to every voicemail. Felt nothing except cold satisfaction. They thought I was too far away to stop them. They'd been wrong. Rodriguez noticed me smiling at my phone. That's a scary smile, Morrison. Just watching a plan come together. The legal plan? The completely legal, fully justified, absolutely devastating plan. Remind me never to steal from you. Remind everyone never to steal from deployed service members. It doesn't end well. At 3 p.m. Georgia time, David texted, they've been served. Both of them. Sheriff delivered papers at the Tybee Island beach house. Claire tried to refuse service. Marcus asked about his legal exposure. Their attorney just called me asking about settlement discussions. I texted back, what did you tell him? That you're not interested in settlement at this time. We're proceeding with full legal and criminal action. Good. Alex, their attorney said Claire's willing to return everything. Full restitution. If you drop the criminal complaints. I stared at that message for a long time. She'd stolen $740,000. Forged my signature. Mocked me in my own house. Built a life with my best friend using my money. And now she wanted mercy. I typed, no settlement. We proceed. David, are you sure? This is your chance to get everything back and walk away clean. Me, she made her choices. Now she lives with the consequences. The next 48 hours were chaos. Claire and Marcus hired expensive attorneys. Filed emergency motions to unfreeze the accounts. Judge denied them, citing the fraud evidence. They tried to sell the beach house quickly. Discovered David had placed liens on it. They tried to access remaining business funds. Found everything frozen by court order. David sent me updates every few hours. They're scrambling. Their attorneys are arguing you're being vindictive. Judge isn't buying it. Found more contractor fraud. Total is now $147,000. Marcus's attorney is asking about criminal exposure. I told him 2 to 4 years if prosecuted. Claire's attorney is pushing hard for settlement. Keeps emphasizing her willingness to return all assets. On day 3, David called me. Alex, I need you to really think about this. Their attorneys have proposed comprehensive settlement terms. Claire returns everything. Marcus pays back all fraud. You keep the company. They forfeit all claims. You win completely. But you have to drop the criminal complaints. What do you want to do? I sat in my bunk, phone pressed to my ear, thinking about that question. What did I want? Send me the terms. Let me review them. The settlement document arrived an hour later. 47 pages of legal language that basically said, Claire and Marcus admit they committed fraud, return all stolen assets, forfeit all company claims, pay $150,000 in damages, and publicly apologize. In exchange, I drop criminal complaints. I read it 3 times. Looked at the signature lines waiting for their names. Comment below and tell me, would you take the settlement and walk away with everything? Or would you push for criminal prosecution even if it meant a longer fight? Because what I decided next would define how this whole thing ended. I thought about it for 2 days. Kept working my logistics job. Kept checking accounts. Kept reading the settlement terms. Finally called David back. I'll accept the settlement. But add one more requirement. What? They both have to post public apologies. On social media. Admitting what they did. No vague language. They admit they stole from a deployed service member. They admit the fraud. They admit the betrayal. David was quiet. That's harsh, Alex. Public humiliation on top of everything else. So was stealing from me while I was overseas. They want to avoid prison? They apologize publicly. Take it or leave it. I'll send the terms. For 2 more days, their attorneys tried to negotiate away the public apology requirement. Argued it was cruel and unusual. That it would damage their professional reputations permanently. David held firm. So did I. On day 5, they capitulated. Agreed to every term including the public apologies. The settlement conference was scheduled. But the apologies had to be posted first. Before any assets were transferred. Before any accounts were unfrozen. They had to humiliate themselves before they got relief. At 9 a.m. Georgia time the next day, Claire posted on Facebook. Her entire friends list could see it. Over 800 people. I need to publicly apologize to my husband Alex Morrison, currently deployed overseas. While he was serving our country, I fraudulently refinanced our home, transferred our joint investments without authorization, and attempted to steal assets from our business partnership. I betrayed his trust completely. I take full responsibility and am making complete restitution. I'm deeply ashamed. 1 hour later, Marcus posted his own apology. Similar language. Similar shame. I watched from Poland as the comments flooded in. Shock. Outrage. Support for me. Condemnation for them. Their mutual friends expressing disbelief. Claire's real estate clients commenting. Marcus's business contacts asking questions. Within 6 hours, both posts had been shared hundreds of times. Screenshot and spread across military spouse groups and veteran communities. They'd become cautionary tales. Examples of what happens when you betray a deployed service member. Rodriguez saw the posts. Holy shit, Morrison. You did it. You actually destroyed them. They destroyed themselves. I just made sure everyone knew about it. Remind me to stay on your good side. Just don't steal from me. Pretty simple rule. David called that evening. The asset transfers are complete. Your investment portfolio has been restored. The house refinance is being corrected. The LLC accounts are back under your control. The beach house has a lien, they'll have to sell it to pay your damages. It's over, Alex. You won completely. But I didn't feel like celebrating. Just tired. Exhausted from weeks of fighting. From watching my marriage end in public shame. From destroying my best friend. Thanks, David. Send me the final paperwork. You did good, Alex. You protected yourself. Held them accountable. That matters. Maybe. But it still felt hollow. Like winning a battle you never wanted to fight. 2 months later, my deployment ended. I flew home to Georgia, but not to my old house. That place had too many memories of betrayal. I checked into temporary lodging at Fort Stewart and started making decisions about my future. Met with David in person for the first time since this all started. Shook his hand in his Atlanta office. You look different, he said. More settled. I feel different. Like I survived something I shouldn't have had to face. What are you going to do now? With the company? With your life? Keep the company. Expand it. Focus on veteran housing projects. Guys returning from deployment need good landlords who understand them. And personally? Start over. Somewhere that doesn't have memories everywhere I look. I sold the house 2 weeks later. Too many ghosts. Bought a smaller condo in Savannah's historic district. Clean lines. No history. Just blank walls waiting for new stories. Applied to adopt a retired military working dog. Belgian Malinois named Sarge. 8 years old. 3 deployments. Medical retirement. We understood each other. The day I picked him up from the shelter, driving home with this battle-scarred dog sitting in my passenger seat, I felt something I hadn't felt in months. Hope. 1 year after Claire's apology went public, I stood in my company office reviewing purchase documents for our 10th veteran housing property. The business was worth $780,000 now. More than before the theft. I'd partnered with 2 trustworthy veterans. Jason handled construction. Maria handled property management. We specialized in military rentals and veteran housing. But the real achievement was the nonprofit. Deployed and defended. Teaching service members about protecting assets during deployment. Financial security workshops on base. Legal protection strategies. Helping people avoid what happened to me. After one workshop, a young sergeant approached. "Sir, your story probably saved my marriage. I went home and talked to my wife about everything you taught. We set up protections together. If she'd reacted badly, I'd have known something was wrong. That made everything worth it. Turning my worst experience into something that helped others." Emma, a contract analyst at the base, started attending the workshops. We got coffee after one session. Then dinner. Then more dinners. She understood military life. Had her own deployment stories. Took things slow. Didn't push. 6 months after we met, she texted, "Dinner at my place? Making that chicken thing you liked." I texted back, "Be there in 20. Sarge sat in the passenger seat as I drove. Looked at me like he understood this was significant. "New chapter, buddy," I told him. "We're allowed to have those." He just panted and watched the road. At a red light, I caught my reflection in the rearview mirror. Looked different than a year ago. Less angry. More settled. Still cautious, but not broken. Claire and Marcus had tried to destroy me. Instead, they'd forced me to rebuild stronger. The light turned green. I drove forward. That's what you do after betrayal. You don't look back. You build better. You help others. You move forward. And eventually, you realize the people who tried to destroy you actually just cleared space for something better to grow. Present day, I'm sitting in my office. Sarge sleeping under my desk. Emma texting about weekend plans. The company thriving. The nonprofit expanding to 3 more military bases. I rarely think about Claire and Marcus anymore. They left Georgia. Living separate lives now. Carrying their shame. David called last week with an update I didn't ask for. Claire reached out through a mutual friend. Says she's in therapy. Wants to apologize properly. Looking for closure. She got closure, I said. The settlement was closure. I've moved on. That's what I told her representative. People ask if I regret how it ended. If I wish I'd handled it differently. The truth is, Claire and Marcus made their choices. I just made sure they faced consequences. They tried to steal my money, my business, my future. But they couldn't steal who I was. A logistics coordinator who plans for contingencies. A soldier who finishes missions. A man who knows his worth. They're gone now. Living with their shame somewhere else. And I'm here. Living with my peace. That's not revenge. That's just justice. If this story hit you, smash that like button and subscribe. Drop a comment. Have you ever been betrayed by someone you trusted completely while you couldn't defend yourself? How did you handle it?